Welcome back, everyone. We are now on episode 5 of the Pariah podcast. We just wrapped up. Well, not really. We almost wrapped up an excellent game week. I think there's one game left, Luton versus Burnley. But if I'm being real, we're not here to cover
No
games
one's
like
watching
that.
that, man.
Watch it be like a 9 goal thriller. Now that we said it, but
Imagine.
no, there's still so much to discuss. My mouth is watering. I just want to get right into it, and I say let's not dilly dally and let's hop into probably the most contentious game so far in the Premier League this year,
Definitely,
and and,
definitely.
and that was Liverpool versus Tottenham Hotspur at Tottenham Hotspur's stadium. The game ended 2-1 with Spurs winning, but not without tons and tons of controversy. At the beginning of the game, Curtis Jones got sent off very quickly for a challenge. I believe it was on Basuma. VAR deemed
Yep.
that it was, unacceptable, dangerous play, so he was sent off. Soon thereafter, Luis Diaz scored an absolutely stunning goal that was
hmm
deemed to be offside, and it was admitted by PGMOL themselves that was the incorrect decision. Literally in the next play, Spurs took the lead, and then Liverpool answered with a beautiful Cody Gakpo and one finish. And then Liverpool got another player sent off. It was Diego Jota with 2 yellow cards. And then in the 97th minute, Spurs found a way with Pedro Porro driving in a cross from the right wing. It bounced off Matip's shin, past Allison into the back of the net, and Spurs took all 3 points in a very smash and grab game. Let's talk about the most contentious decision in that entire game. I mean, not really
hmm
contentious because we know what the true answer was, and that was Luis Diaz's goal. First of all, I want to say it was a beautiful goal, right?
Yeah.
When I saw it, I believe I texted our group chat like he is him. Like for your team to be down to 10 men and you pulling out something like that, first of all, miraculous, right?
He's had some quality goals this season.
And I
Yeah.
think all of us in the group chat in that exact moment, we all said that's onside, right?
Yeah.
So let's break down what happened. So Luis Diaz scores, and per FA recommendations, the linesman raises his flag because it said in moments of uncertainty, you must raise your flag so that it can go to a VAR review.
Sure.
Linesman does so, right? It goes to the VAR review. And after investigation this weekend, this is what happened. The people in the VAR booth thought that the decision on the pitch was goal. So the message they reported back to the referee, and the reason they didn't draw the lines was because it was so obvious to them that he was onside. They simply said, on field decision confirmed. And
All
they did
stands.
not say goal. They just said that. They left it at that. On field decision confirmed. Obviously, the referee on the pitch saw the flag went up. So he confirmed the on field decision. Spurs very smartly took the free kick quickly, and that deemed the play to be over so that it could not be reviewed further. Now, if you ask me, it takes a different level of incompetence to not know that the flag was raised on the pitch. I see so many people being like, oh, okay, now at least the error makes sense, right? A lot of people were almost relieved that, hey, it wasn't an issue of them drawing lines incorrectly. The VAR refs weren't wrong in their assessment, right? So it's not that bad. I think it's so embarrassing that, first of all, they don't know the protocol that you raise the flag when you're unsure, right? That's their own protocol, right?
Yeah.
And secondly, the fact that you wouldn't just say decision confirmed, goal, right? Like at
Dude,
least
it's I think I really want to root for VAR, and I think that at the end of the day it is a good thing for the game. But like the fact that we have the people behind it who don't know what they're doing, like it, I don't know how in this day and age certain referees still can't clarify decisions and make things work with the technology that's provided. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like VAR is a good thing and it still is a good thing. But certain changes need to happen for this to like not like for people to say, get rid of VAR because I don't think it's a machine error. It's always, always, always been a human error.
Right. No, go ahead, Nims.
Thoughts like I agree with you, Forrest. Like I feel like
Hmm.
VAR has correctly allowed a lot of goals and correctly disallowed a lot of goals since the beginning of the VAR. But the point of VAR is that we reduce human error in the live game. And if there's human
You're
error
right.
happening in VAR, there's no point in VAR. We can just go with the live referees, call it a day when they call a miss on the fouls or the offsides, and just move on with their life. This waiting of whether a goal is happening or not takes away the emotion, and we still have a human error. So there's literally no point sometimes. I feel like, but
And to your point, I feel like that human error now is like amplified.
yeah,
The mistakes that are happening, we're like, oh, VAR, how did that happen? And you have like 5 minutes to watch them figure out a decision where all you're talking about is that decision. Where beforehand, you're right. Like, if there was offsides and it wasn't, you just got to live with that.
Bruv, the perfect analogy, it's like getting a question on an exam wrong. That's a really hard exam, right? And then
Mm.
getting a question on an open book, open note, open internet exam wrong. Like, you have everything there. Like, you have the textbook, your friend helping you, your tutor, right? All the time in the world, and you still get it wrong, right? But that being said, I saw, like, Nibs, you share the sentiment. I saw Rory Jennings today uh kind of urge PGMOL to remove VAR. And I think even with these egregious mistakes week in, week out, I think that would be the irresponsible, emotional reaction, just
Yeah.
because I think VAR is still a net positive. I think about all the times we've seen so many decisions overturned, which just kind of shows you how bad the referees were in the first place, right? And secondly, like, these kinds of things are not, to Forrest's point, they are not intentionally within the design of VAR, right?
Yeah.
They are mistakes, and they are mistakes because referees in England are the most protected species ever, right? Like, I saw
Definitely, dude.
I saw so many losers on Twitter coming to the defense of a referee. And I understand they're humans, right? I understand this is their career. They go home to their families, and it sucks to see these things. Brother, you are getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds, if not millions, to go run around a football pitch and make the right calls, right? You go through so much training. You have probably the strongest workers union in the world. These guys don't get fired. You should have no stresses in life. You
And
could go
even
out.
more so, they're protected. Like they changed those rules about like if you show a yellow card to the ref, you'll get
Yeah,
booked. If you curse at the ref, you'll get booked. If you curse in his area, you'll get booked.
bro.
Like they got protected even more.
Reese James ain't even on the pitch, and they released a statement telling him he needs to apologize. Like,
It's crazy.
if you have all these things going your way and you still can't do your job, I have no sympathy for you, right? Like, and if it requires a clear out by the referees association, right? If it requires
Hmm.
them to hire 20 new referees, I guarantee you there's a bunch of young guys waiting to take the place of these old dudes that have their own little boys club that stick out for each other every time. It's literally become its own, like, corrupt government. Case in point, last year when this exact same situation happened to us against Brentford, the referee in charge was fired. Guess what? Six
he's back.
months later, he was
He's back.
rehired because
Yep.
they are the most protected species in all of sports. So I
They
have
just
zero
love they love
sympathy.
getting the statements out, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Just so many
embarrassing.
statements, man.
They're like almost trying to get their own clout. Like they think that it's all about the players. Like we got to make a statement. Let's do this. Let's do that. They put a who's that? Mike Dean or somebody
Mike Dean,
an
yeah.
like analyzing what the refs thought behind every decision was. It's all like a you
And I
know.
want to tie that back to I don't know if you guys remember the I think Conference League final, Roma versus I don't remember who, where basically Mourinho wanted to like kill Anthony Taylor after the game, and then Anthony Taylor was like, getting chased in the airport and stuff, and like I feel like that kind of stuff led the Premier League to be like, we need to give them more protection,
Mhm.
which is just crazy that Mourinho's effect on this league is working, and he's chilling in Rome somewhere. But yeah, I
It
don't know.
reminds me of that Arsene Wenger quote. He's a man of many great quotes, but he said, "When I die, if God gives me a choice between heaven and hell, I will ask him where the referees will be first." Right. So I think
When the hell
I
did he say that, dude?
truly, truly relate to that sentiment. It's one of the greatest quotes ever, and it could not be more true than this week. But that being said, we've touched on the refs, right? But there was a game of
Yeah.
football that was also played, and it's a shame. It's a shame that we have to talk about that first and not the football. I
Mm.
think, look, Spurs are on 17 points now. They won shamelessly. They behaved shamelessly after the win. I'm not one to celebration police, but Yves Bissouma had his kid out on the pitch on his shoulders like he just
I knew you
won
were gonna mention
like
that,
he
dude.
just won the treble, right? But hey, everyone can have their fun, right? The point is, Spurs have that inevitability that we had last year, and even though it's coming in really weird ways, it's coming for them,
Mm.
and it's not typical of Spurs at all. I'm like when I was watching that game. Never when I watch a Spurs game do I think, oh, these guys are gonna clutch it up. That has never once in my life happened. But when I was watching that game and they started that final attack, I just felt like, damn, they're like playing coherently. Like they actually smartly got it out to Pedro Porro and he
Hmm.
smartly decided to cross. I was pretty impressed. Thoughts?
Yeah, what should I say? They look good, and it's hard to judge that match, obviously, because at one point it's 10 men, and then at one point it's 9 men. But they've shown stuff that I've liked all season. Good build-up play, good attacking. Madison has been really impressive. Son has been clinical. So it's more or less just like, again, how do they fare against a big side? They played Arsenal, they look good for bits. And again, against Liverpool, I think I really wish we got to see the full 11 on 11.
Yeah.
Liverpool are a side that were pressed very well, and against a team like Tottenham under Ange that are so like, build up and from the back and stuff, it would have been interesting. But yeah, it's just another one I gotta give credit to. I think they're going in the right way. Nabir, you want to add to that?
I still have my doubts about Tottenham.
Yeah,
I just feel like there are certain points in the game where I feel like if I mean the games I've seen so far, I don't know, Spurs got the luckier end of it, I feel like. I just feel like
yeah,
they could be easily exposed. And if there was a clinical team and with strong 11 that faced them and actually were up to it the day of, they would actually thrash them. I feel like there's so many open gaps in their penalty box where it doesn't get covered at all. If the extra man is in there, they can easily have their shots and they can go in. But I just feel like everything's just kind of clicking up for them, and it kind of bothers me. But we'll see how far it goes. That's the same thing they said about us last season, but
Yeah.
hopefully it doesn't go all the way for them.
And not to get my credit to them confused, I still do not think at all for a second that they're in a title race. What I do think they're in officially is a top four race, and that's not anything that I expected from them this year.
yeah,
Uh,
me neither.
to Nibs' point, I do think this bubble will burst, but to have gotten themselves 17 points after 7 games, it will be a huge boost to anything they try to achieve this year.
And a relatively like difficult schedule too.
Yeah, I mean they
Yeah,
played three of the big boys already, right? We're
yeah,
Liverpool, United, and us, and they took 7 points from 9.
yeah,
So it really doesn't get much better than that. We could talk all day about the circumstances of these points, but at the end of the day, points on the board are much,
yeah.
much better than playing beautiful football on the pitch, right? So credit to them. What I do want to say also, and Rayon commented this on one of our TikToks. He asked, not enough pool talk. Are they back? And I can comfortably say that Liverpool are back. Even after a loss like that, they have played so well this season. We haven't really touched on it all that much, but their
Yeah.
offense is absolutely churning. I still think the lack of a true DM will haunt them, but if you can outscore your opponent every game, unless you somehow come down to 9 men, I think they will be able to in a lot of games. Per your prediction, Faris, these games are turning out to be absolute just shootouts.
Yeah.
But they're winning them, and that's all that matters, right?
They
And
have they have so much firepower. Like
Yeah.
every four they have can do something crazy, score, create, dribble.
Mhm.
Even their midfielders are doing that. And exactly like you said, like sure they don't have a DM, but these guys are creating chances when they have 10 men. And even when they had 9 men, they're creating chances, which is just like terrifying, when
Yeah.
they're at full strength. And I do like really like some of their acquisitions, especially McAllister and what's his name?
Szoboszlai.
Gravenberch. Slobberslay, obviously
Yeah.
Slobberslay. He's Showtime. So yeah, they just have like a good collection of players and typical Klopp fashion, like he'll get goals from his guys, especially his forwards.
I just want to add though that I know everyone in here had, I guess, doubts about their defense. If there's one takeaway from that Spurs game is that they can lock in and hold it down, right? Like when I
Yeah.
saw that back line of Van Dijk, Konate, and Matip, I personally was like, if these guys decide to low block in a game when they're up, it's going to be tough to break when they have 11 men, right? Like
Mhm.
they almost got it done. They were 30 seconds and a bad deflection away from securing a point with 9 men, right? That's impressive on its own.
You know what I feel like we were in the assumption of this season as well. For some reason, Liverpool has suffered so many injuries throughout these last 3 years. We almost
Yeah.
thought that like, oh, this season they're also gonna do the same. But I feel like almost all their squad is fit and ready,
Mm-hmm.
and they got such a squad, man. Like every substitute they make, oh my God, there's
Yeah, it's
another
quality. It's
guy
quality.
coming
Yeah.
quality. All that their striking force, as far as said, like is a threat just individually, and then when they collectively come together, man, scary scenes.
Yeah, what's it called? Klopp finally, I think, not finally. He went back to his roots in that he signed a bunch of players that could just ball out individually, and he said,
Yeah.
"Screw these fancy systems of play. We're gonna
Yeah.
play ISO ball, right? Like, and it's gonna be a thing where, oh, you think you could guard Salah? Oh, he's gonna dish it to Shabazz. Oh, you think you could guard him? We got Luis Diaz on the left. Oh, you think you could guard him? We got Gakpo playing midfielder for some
You
reason.
got Nunez coming off the bench, sixth man
Yeah,
of the
like
year.
honestly, like they're playing. If I was a neutral and I had to turn on one game every weekend, I would turn on Liverpool games. They are pure entertainment.
Yes.
And I think not only will they get top four like I demanded they should, I
Yeah.
think they will be in that conversation for the title. And if they had won that game, they would have been sitting top of the Premier League today. So it just shows you how fine the margins are here.
Man, I'm
Um,
so excited to watch Liverpool play against Aston City. Like those two games, I just feel like they're
Blockbuster.
going to be some amazing
Dude, I
games.
got I gotta change my predictions like every other week now, dude. It's
Yeah.
looking
Now
so long.
we just got to ride with them and laugh at ourselves, right?